Keys to Fearlessness. The Lost Chapter. Your opinion of yourself becomes your reality. If you walk through life full of doubt, the world will reflect that back at you. Nobody will believe in you, nobody will back you, and things will keep falling apart. But if you flip that belief, if you walk in certainty, like you know you belong, watch how quickly the world starts to move out of your way. It's that simple, that direct, that powerful. From the moment you were born, you were a wild force of nature. You had no name, no label, no identity. You were pure instinct, pure curiosity, pure potential. But that raw power got shaped, bit by everyone around you. Parents, teachers, friends, strangers. They all told you who you were supposed to be. They handed you roles like costumes and told you to wear them if you wanted to fit in. Be quiet, be polite, be nice, be normal. And at first you listened, because you were small and they were big. You needed their love. You needed their approval. But what nobody told you was that every time you bent yourself to their expectations, you chipped away at your own power. You traded in pieces of your identity for comfort. You gave up the right to define yourself. Understand this, you are a mystery to yourself. You've been trained to think you're one thing, when in reality, you're 1,000 things. You're a mix of light and shadow, logic and emotion, genius and madness. And you're supposed to be. You weren't born to fit in, you were born to create something new. And to do that, you have to start by unlearning everything the world told you about you. The fearless approach to life starts right there. You untie yourself from the opinions of others. You stop outsourcing your identity. You stop checking their faces for approval before you make your move. Instead, you move from the inside out. You act according to your own code, your own rhythm, your own gut. You do things that people don't expect because you're no longer performing for them. You're performing for your destiny. Will people talk? Absolutely. They'll say you're arrogant, weird, reckless, crazy. But understand this, those same people who judge you are the ones too scared to follow their own path. Their opinion is a reflection of their own chains, not your truth. Most people don't know how powerful they actually are. Not because they don't have power, but because they've never tested it. They've never gone past the first wall, the first sign of rejection, and they fold. The first time someone calls them out, they shrink. The first time they fail, they stop. And that's where their story ends. But not yours. You've got to train yourself to think bigger, to ask for more, to believe you are meant for something greater. If you walk through life thinking you're average, you'll settle for average. But if you walk like someone who knows they were born to shake the ground, life will rise to meet you. The difference between failure and greatness is self-belief. Not fake confidence, not empty affirmations, but the unshakable knowing that no matter what, you're going to find a way. That belief becomes a magnet. It pulls you through the darkest days. It fuels you when nothing else will. People follow leaders not because they're perfect, but because they move with certainty. Be that kind of leader. Lead yourself first. In the hood, that kind of self-belief is rare because everything around you is screaming the opposite. The environment says you're nothing, that you're stuck, that the most you can hope for is a check, ear hustle, or an early grave. And the danger is that you might start to believe it, that you might start living down to their expectations instead of up to your potential. But those who break out, those who go on to do legendary things, they move different. They carry ambition like a weapon. They don't apologize for it. They use every slight, every loss, every block against them as fuel. Their belief is forged in the fire, and that fire makes them dangerous to the system. Fearlessness is not the absence of fear. It's knowing the fear is there and choosing to move anyway, choosing to bet on yourself anyway, choosing to speak your truth anyway. If you're afraid of being different, you'll spend your life being a copy. But if you embrace your difference, you become the original the world didn't know it needed. This isn't about being reckless. It's about being real, being rooted in who you are and willing to grow in public, willing to fall in public, willing to rise again, not because anyone gave you permission, but because you decided you could. You've got to learn how to let go of who you were so you can become who you are. That requires a kind of death, a death of your old self-image, your small expectations, your old limitations. But what comes next is your rebirth. Fearless people do not wait for perfect conditions. They create their own opportunities. They build when no one's watching. They rehearse in the shadows so they can perform in the light. They understand that freedom is not handed down. It's taken. And it's taken by those who are willing to bet everything on their vision. And here's the twist. Once you start walking in fearlessness, everything starts to change. You attract new people, new opportunities, new levels of clarity. Your old circle won't recognize you, but your new one will be waiting. The ones who speak your language. The ones who don't flinch when you dream big. The ones who've been waiting on you to show up as your full self. Because that's what the world is missing. People who are unapologetically themselves. People who don't dilute their message to keep it safe. People who speak like thunder and move like lightning. People who know who they are. And so I'll leave you with this. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop dialing down your truth to fit into their system. You are the system now. This is the lost chapter. And it belongs to those bold enough to write it.